part of what got me excited for this run in general is that I had a tiny bit of time to play off stream, just on my laptop while I was in between things, and I decided to try out a stabber character. And of course, when I do it off camera is the run where I found, I think on D6 or D7, I found the arc blade. So, arguably one of the best short blades in the game. Pretty fantastic stuff to say the least. Oof. And accidentally stepped a bit too far into this encounter. We did kind of just luck out with the bear there and taking them out without taking too many berserk hits. Not something we can rely on to that extent in the future. That's fine. Gonna ask that if it included the brand. You know, I thought it did, but it actually reassures me that it does not, because I was always a little confused by these numbers in the past, and it helps assure me that I'm not completely losing my mind and instead was just wrong, which is definitely arguably better. Okie dokie, we're calling quite the attention to ourselves. Look at all these friends. I guess everyone's yelling at the top of their lungs the moment they see us, but that's fine. And there we do get a Venom Dagger, just like we wished for Christmas, so I think I will swap over to that bad boy for now. And overall, that will be a much better improvement to our attack. But a Rapier of Speed is interesting. Go down to 0.3 attack delay, and the beauty of that is that we have an auxiliary attack. So the faster we can attack, the better off we'll be in regards to our Vinestalker bite. That's pretty fantastic stuff. I'll stick with the poison for now, I think, but let's keep that in mind as a very good option for us to swap to at some point in the near future. Switch out our cloak for the +2 one we just picked up is also lovely. We're sitting at 15 AC, which is beautiful stuff. So now we just have to stay alive, folks. We've gotten all of the requirements that I set out for myself. I guess I should say most of the requirements we set out for myself, because the one thing we are, of course, still missing is a little bit of Uskayaw action. But hopefully we can find our temple here on D6. Technically could be as late as D7, but crossing our fingers and hoping that it all works out. And quite an interesting armor shop here. Ra's Dragon Slaying Spoils. All the dragon scales you could possibly want. Is this the run where we actually try out Shadow Dragon scales for the first time? At least for the first time that I actually lean into its special ability. Go for a heavy defense stealth. Let's mark it off just in case we decide to come back. There's also this Quicksilver Dragon Scales. Cold Vulnerability could be rough, but willpower, regen, and a bit of strength. It's not bad. Rampage also helps out a great deal with stabbing characters. So I'll probably mark that bad boy off as well, though there's not a huge rush to get it sorted. And unfortunately, we do mulch our Curari Dart there, so that is a bit of a shame. Just down to one of those bad boys left. Oh, Hep, it's nice to see you, my friend. But unfortunately, not who we're looking for today. What does Quicksilver innately give? I believe it's willpower. Yeah, it's unable to be enchanted whatsoever, but it's pretty solid base stats and gives willpower. Ego. But there we go. We do find this guy altar. Who needs the Economical Temple when you can instead just get lucky? And our first stabbing spree goes quite wonderfully. In fact, we'll poison up that buddy enough that we can just walk away from the encounter, and there we go. The crowd is taken care of for the time being. Not too shabby whatsoever. Fantastic. But yes, again, that was a little bit of an introduction to what we'll be trying to achieve here, but largely it's just going to be put out enough damage to quickly get into the dance solo, and then show some new moves, break some ankles. And do what stabbers do best. No, also a Dith altar. How about that? Don't know how intelligent it was to just try and fight that Ice Beast mano a mano there, but it worked out in the long run, so I can't complain too much. My guess is that this is where our altar was hiding, but before we do anything on this floor, let's try to do what I never remember in time normally, and start investigating our equipment here. Specifically getting that teleport scroll is huge, some fog could help us out as well. Poison is interesting. If I can get some resist poison, then that becomes much stronger. And that's most of our scroll stacks. Still have 5 ID. I guess curing is still nice. Heal wounds is completely useless, but curing is not too shabby. Speak of the devil. Hello, heal wounds. Feels weird throwing those on the ground, but tis the life of a vine stalker, I guess. There we go. We do get curing just in case we run into an absurd amount of poison in the near future. Not too shabby whatsoever. And we'll probably just dive right into this encounter. Gonna be a little bit haphazard, try to take advantage of our abilities here. Can also take a peek. Now that we've ID'd some stuff, we'll know a bit of the inventory of the store there, getting another identify scroll. Was hoping, kind of hoping to just luck out and get myself a throwing net. Rude. But get myself one of those acquirement scrolls. But fairly low odds of that being the first one to pop up, and not too big of a deal regardless. There we go. Started that fight a little too haphazardly, but everything worked out in the end. Let's get down to the single wide hallway. Our poison, fortunately, also does pretty good work against the bees. At least as well as their poison does against us, so everyone comes out of that pretty equal, and fortunately we're able to take care of them. Seems to be a bit of a theme on this floor in general, just all the poison enemies you could possibly want in life. Interesting. Hey Brain, how's it going? Hope you're having a fantastic weekend here, my friend. Welcome. Don't really know why I decided to explore the Economical Temple. No real point in doing so, but that's fine. Also looks like a very interesting spellbook vault over there to the left. We'll have to decide if we care to even go through it. I mean, it doesn't look too dangerous, porting the enemies off to random spots on the level when we try to go through and inevitably wake them up. It's interesting to say the least. Let's maybe switch over to poison darts just to get your attention. It's the one downside to being a stealth-based character is just how annoying it can sometimes be when enemies cannot, for the life of them, find you. Even when you're trying to approach them head-on without a care in the world. There we go. Fantastic. As we make our way through D7, so far things are looking pretty solid. We have Uskayaw, we have good solid basic equipment for ourselves here today, so hopefully this is what it takes to make it through. I mean, getting the quick stab or the sneak stab, backstab, what's the word I'm looking for? Regardless, stabbing the ever-living crap out of that moccasin goes a long way in terms of making us feel a bit safer here. That could have been a pretty rough encounter. And do I have any desire to switch to Rapier of Speed yet? Potentially do want to train up short blades enough to be able to use that at min delay. And then the idea would be to potentially start off all encounters with the Rapier of Speed and then swap over to our Stabling implement when things start to become paralyzed by good old Usk. Do you know what? Let us potentially swap over to the Rapier of Speed for dealing with these sons of guns. Let the Trident Wielder come in first. Beautiful. Anti-magic Trident, actually kind of a pain in the butt against us. Oh wow. Short sort of speed as well. All the options we could possibly want in life. I think I'll stick to the Rapier for now though. And that's fantastic. I mean, Rapiers still do pretty decently with backstabs. I think daggers are the be-all end-all #1 performer, but any short blade will do the trick at the end of the day. So maybe I do just want to switch over to this speed blade a bit earlier here and just go ham with it. Perfect timing on the solo there. Definitely was playing it a little fast and loose. Probably want to be slightly more cautious next time around. Amulet of the Acrobat, though, is not too bad for us. Bringing us up to 25 evasion when we're not in combat, so that's quite lovely. Oh, and so satisfying when you go through an entire pack of enemies without waking up a single one. You do love to see it. And I did actually want to check. There's this little area here, so we have Enchant Weapon Scroll and a potential ring. Just have to get through a couple quasits. I mean, that's not too bad. If we find ourselves with a Wand of Digging in the near future, we're going to try to remember that that is available for us to go back to. What are your odds of hitting me while I am highly evasive? 28% chance to hit. Not too bad. We will approach that son of a gun. Always slightly terrifying when you come across your first centaur on any run here, but fortunately doesn't seem to be anything we can't handle for the time being. And see, now that's more like it. Fantastic. We don't even have that much stealth yet. We're still at 3 pips, only 6 skill. Apparently that's all you need, folks. At least at this stage in the game, and we're not going to be too concerned about sneaking up on folks in the future. Slightly concerning seeing the vampire here. If I can sneak up on you, it's not a big deal. Actually, let's double check. Confuse is at 7% with our current willpower, so that's nice. For the time being, let's check a different stairwell. You know, I'm beginning to see a bit of a pattern coming into shape there. Okay, fantastic. It's not the entire floor. So that works out well in our favor. Oh gosh. El Roca, on the other hand, though, not really working out in our favor. Fireball, unfortunately, does not give half a dang about our evasion. We could try to sneak up on you by coming around. Oh gosh, do I dare. Could even preemptively haste, I guess. But let's do it. Perfect. Seems a little bit silly after things go that smoothly and we take them out in one hit, but you never know when things are going to be a little more sketchy than that. And now this I do not like. Komodo Dragon with 34 damage is going to hit like a gosh darn freight train. We can take our frog buddy up, and then just take you upstairs. I was debating switching over to our Curari darts and trying to do some work there to keep ourselves safe, but fortunately doesn't seem to be the be-all end-all. And who summoned you? Oh my gosh. Of course it had to be the kobold in the back. I think I will swap over to Wand of Acid here and just try to take out the summoner. Bit of a strange scenario there where you're prioritizing just a standard baby kobold, but definitely important. Interesting. What went into that decision there? The warrior just backed off completely? I mean, letting in the stronger enemy, don't get me wrong, it is terrifying. But nothing we can't handle until we miss with our Curari dart. Wow. That's great. That's definitely what you want to see. I guess we will be taking on this vampire sooner rather than later. That's fine. All of you kiddos could come hang out in our lovely little kill hole here. Not too shabby. Turns out the vampire way easier to deal with than I initially suspected, so that not a big deal whatsoever. And you can see with the rest of you, still going to be very scared of the two-headed ogre, but the majority of these other enemies should be manageable for us at the moment here, so that is fantastic. Oh, do we even get some revenge on the vampire mosquitoes? I saw at least one there. I mean, maybe it's a little too preemptive, a little too early to say with certainty that we'll be getting our revenge, but that's the dream at the very least. And definitely feeling a heck of a lot more confident on this character now than we were when we originally ran into those sons of guns. Did I pick up my Curari Dart? I did not. Did I mulch my Curari Dart? I might have. That is unfortunate, folks. That's a real shame. Well, we can get a decent amount of poison on you. We can try to constrict as well. Never works quite as well as I would like. Throwing net, 80% chance to hit you. That should be good enough for me. Indeed it is. We don't even lose the net, fortunately, because we killed them quickly enough, so that is wonderful. And let's bring all of you kiddos back into the hallway here. Oh my gosh. So the stun didn't last very long there, but once the pain bond came in, oh boy. Ideally, you want some overlap there. So once you have a bit more invocations training, I believe you can get to the point where you're outputting enough damage and the stun from solo is lasting long enough that you can pain bond the backstab. So that's the kind of ideal scenario to hit at some point in the near future here. I guess for anyone who's slightly less familiar with Uskayaw, of course we start out pretty much any encounter at no piety, and then as we deal damage it quickly rises, and once the encounter is done, quickly falls back. But as it goes up here, you start off with Stomp, just dealing nice damage around you. Pass through a line of other dancers, lets you do like a pseudo blink. You will end up next to an enemy, but a lot of times it's a better enemy to end up next to. This is the solo we've been talking about. They're helpless, and they just have to watch our sweet, sweet dance moves. And the pain bond is at the next tier after that. The final one is merging and destroying a victim, where of course you sync up with them on an atomic level and you annihilate them from the inside out. Pretty fantastic stuff. Gruesome, but pretty dang cool. Oh, there were two-headed ogres. That's 4 heads. Well, I don't think we want to polymorph you. Shining Eye, Firecrab, and Manticore. Nope. Those all seem worse. Oof, oof, oof. Potentially just want to lose this buddy for the time being here. So let's maybe bring you all the way down. Come on, my friend. Welcome, welcome. Then we'll head up. And let's try to walk over to this stairwell and immediately head to one of the other downstairs. And we can potentially come up to finish that buddy off. Potentially just leave them alone to live out the rest of their life in harmony there on D10. I guess we probably had a lair entrance there. We did indeed. So we may want to swap over to exploring lair at some point in the near future here. Getting the backstab on the boulder beetle is huge. That could have been a bit of a painful encounter. I mean, fortunately, we have enough poison damage to potentially do some good work there, but still less than ideal. Hey, you should load up the Uskayaw wiki to see what is happening. For a second later, let's check out what this god do. Well, apologies for not being a bit more on the ball with that. But it's definitely a very interesting god, and there is lots of good information on the wiki. I'd still recommend checking it out if you have any interest in trying it out for yourself. This is a nasty little combo here. Till we have poison resistance, we probably will not fare very well in an encounter against the Hornet, so we'll just leave that bad boy in their own little realm for the time being here. And let's just hopefully explore the rest of the level slightly less eventfully. So far looking pretty good. I mean, D12 is probably about as deep as I wish to go. Interesting. This is like the undead entrance to the Horic Vaults. Oh, Phantom is actually real nasty here. No thank you, friend. In fact, if I can potentially get these Phantoms upstairs, then that is going to be much easier for me to deal with. Don't accidentally get ourselves completely surrounded by zombies and skeletons here. Seems like a good idea. You know, just as a baseline assumption. Ooh, and that ugly thing could be a bit nasty. Don't have any fire resistance. That's not true. I do have fire resistance. Look at that. So I think we'll swap over to that bad boy, and as long as this son of a gun doesn't change colors... Oh. And also dependent on what absurd amounts of damage we take from our troll friend there. Jeez Louise, that was rough. It's also an interesting appeal to see the troll leather armor here. Synergizes nicely with our already insanely high HP regeneration. It's definitely intriguing, but I don't know if I can say no to our +5 ring mail of positive energy that also has a bit of a bonus to dexterity on it. It's a pretty fantastic piece of kit for us at the moment here. And a 5-headed Hydra, eh, my friends? I mean, it's good to see, reminds us of what we will have to encounter when we do eventually make our way back up to Lair, which is going to be sooner rather than later here. And I don't have a great way of dealing with a Hydra at the moment. I mean, fortunately 15 AC is way better than I'd normally be expecting on this style of character. So that it at least has fairly decent odds of negating the majority of a Hydra's damage. Still not perfect. 8% chance of banishment. Let's just get you with our anti-magic bite as soon as possible then. And you know, let's pick up this stuff and let's not explore this little castle keep area for the moment here, shall we? If it's gonna keep filling up with depths tier monsters, then that seems like a bit of a nasty situation. Okay, I was hoping to get a nice stab off. 4 heads is potentially a better introduction here, a better test run of how we fare against a Hydra. So let's maybe soften you up with some acid. And then yeah, it really doesn't go that badly. I guess the big thing is if we can get the stun effect off, then it doesn't matter what we're facing. We're in a pretty dang good spot.